I already tried to explain you in my videos about the underrated and overrated animated movies and animals. For me, why A Bug's Life represents the Bug's world much better than Ants, and therefore why its remote counterpart is overrated. And today I'd like to give you some evidence about why it's a much better representation of the Bug's world than Ants. First look, see Gypsy the butterfly in the movie? Well, she's very nice, sweet, kind and adorable, and with all that we just can't say the inverse. This is the best and perfect representation we can give to a butterfly. Second evidence, see the moment when Francis argues with the flies in the circus? Well, at some point, we see through the faces of one of the eyes of one of these flies, and we also hear and see Francis screaming at him, "I'm gonna pick the hairs out of your head and one by one." So yes, that means it's the best representation of a fly's multifaceted eyes. There's another good and perfect representation of the flies later in the movie during the bar scene. And it's when we see several flies land on a dirt to eat it. Because yes, as we all know, the flies eat the fecal matter. And still during the bar scene, we see a mosquito drinking a drop of blood with his nose. Because yes, as we all know, the mosquitoes drink blood with their noses. So yes, with these two, we just can't say the inverse. This is the best and perfect representation we can give of the mosquitoes. Next evidence, Rosie the Spider / Black Widow. Yes, with all the moments where we see her weaving webs, it's just totally obvious that we can't see the inverse here either. It's the best representation of the spider. And I saved the best for last. Heimlich the caterpillar with his process and ritual to become a butterfly. Yes, everyone knows well that exactly like he does in the movie, a caterpillar eats so much food in order to become first a chrysalis, and then a butterfly. And what's also a good logic and coherent idea is that Heimlich gets out of his chrysalis and that he becomes a butterfly at the end of the movie after having eaten so much during the entire movie. Because yes, it's totally logical that this makes part of the conclusion of the movie. So, do you understand better now why I told you in my video about the underrated and overrated animated movies for me that A Bug's Life represents the Bug's world so much better than Ants? Because he represents the Bug's world in general like its Dreamless counterpart that only represents the Ants.